Few things depict the gospel more clearly than moments of suffering. Few things depict the gospel more clearly than moments of suffering. You see, suffering reminds me once again where life is to be found. Life is not to be found in that beautiful house that you own. Life is not to be found in that person that you're married to. Life is not to be found in the health of your body. Life is not to be found in the fact that the dream that you had for your life is actually happening. Life is a person, and his name is Jesus. And why is it that the loss of those things is so incredibly painful to me? Because mistakenly, I define those things as life. Life is the fact that I'm married. Life is the fact that I have a good job. Life is the fact that I have a nice house. Life is the fact that my children have turned out the way I want them to. Those are all huge, wonderful blessings for which you'd be thankful, but they're not life. I was counseling a lady one afternoon. She wanted to do marital counseling with her husband, but he was unwilling to come. And as we were there, he was in the process of emptying the mansion that they lived in. 3 18-wheelers pulled up. He had plotted for 3 years, literally very patiently plotting this plot to leave her absolutely destitute. That afternoon when she got home, there was this huge house, absolutely empty. The only thing that was left in the house was a small kitchen table and 4 chairs and a single bed in one of the multiple bedrooms. That's it. There's nothing else in the house, including her children. And she obviously was utterly beside herself, utterly destitute. And I said words to her that she at that point didn't understand. I said, "You will stand. You will stand at the end of this thing, because your husband can take your possessions. He can take your children. He can take your friends, but he can't take life from you. He can't. He has no ability to do that." She heard those words and she wept, because it seemed to her that's exactly what he had done. He had taken life from her. How could God allow this to happen? I'll never forget the afternoon where the phone in my office rang. I picked up the receiver to say hello, and before I had a chance to say hello, this exuberant voice screamed over the phone, "I'm standing, I'm standing, I'm standing." I obviously knew who it was, and she said, "Paul, I thought life had been taken from me." And she said exactly what I said as I introduced this point to you. She said these words to me, "I've come to realize that life is a person. His name is Jesus, and I have him forever. I have him forever. You can't take life from me." You see, the gospel is powerfully presented by those things. Hear this. All of those things that become precious to us, all the sights and sounds and experiences and possessions and people of this physical created world are not where life is to be found. They are fingers set there by God to point you to where life can be found. You see the difference? Those are not where life can be found, but they are put there to point to you to this one who is able to give you life, life eternal, life that involves deep, abiding peace in heart, life that means hope even though you're in the midst of disaster, life that gives you courage to get up the next day even though life has been hard. Life, real life, is a person, and his name is Jesus, and he's yours forever. You can lose your house. You can demolish the car of your dreams. You can have a loyal friend turn a back and walk away from you. Your marriage can end. But none of those things mean the loss of life. Because in the midst of every piece of that kind of loss, the one who is your life stays constant and faithful and near. Life will never leave you. We all know that Jesus was willing to expose himself to the harshest suffering of life in a fallen world. But I don't know if you've thought about this or not. The deepest moment of suffering for Jesus was not the physical pain on the cross. It was not the horrible injustice of his trial. The deepest moment of the suffering of Jesus was emotional and relational. It was that moment when the Father turned his back on the Son. And in this moment of the deepest of pain and grief, Jesus cried out, "Eloi, Eloi, lama sabachthani." My God, why have you forsaken me? Hear what I'm about to say. Jesus willingly took your rejection so you would never, ever again see the back of God's head. Life will never turn his back on you. Life will never walk away from you. Life will never quit on you. Life will never say, "It's too hard, it's taking too long." Life has invaded your life by his grace and will not leave.